welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. Come onto your mat and find your comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. We're going to be pretty prop free today, but it's always nice to have a blanket, particularly for Shavasana at the end of the class. You can cross your legs, you can stretch your legs out, you can bring yourself into half lotus or lotus, whatever works for you. Let your shoulders relax, give the shoulders a little roll. Find a comfortable place for your hands to rest. And check in with the position of your head. You want your head to be aligned with the shoulders, or the ears to be aligned with the shoulders, so that you're not sticking your head forward and causing your upper trapezius to work too hard. Let yourself be completely balanced as you sink into your sitting bones. Relaxing the lower body against the earth and letting the upper body float away from the floor. Let the eyes fall closed. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. Checking in with all the joints in your body, noticing how they're feeling. This class is going to be focusing on the whole body today. There's going to be a few exercises that you might find a little challenging. Remember that with Yin Yoga, we come towards our edge. We drop into stillness and we stay for a long time. But if we're starting to move towards pain, take yourself back from the pose or out of the pose altogether. Don't stay there if the body is not comfortably able to. So we're finding our edge, which is a place where we have some sensation, but not too much. This isn't a class where you should be pushing yourself or driving yourself. Instead, allow the body to sink into the shape. Checking in constantly with the breath, with the body. And coming out when you need to, not when I tell you to. So you are the one that's driving, not me. We're working with the whole body today, getting into lots of the different joint spaces. So we're going to start with some gentle circling of the torso. You can keep your eyes closed or you can blink them open, whichever works better for you. Really small circles beginning to circle the torso, feeling the weight distribution change from one sitting bone to the other. Allowing yourself to settle into the meditation of the movement. Letting the circles get gradually larger so that the whole body is coming forward over the legs. The belly's engaging a little as you come into the backward movement. Shoulders are moving, the elbows and wrists, the hips. All the vertebrae of the spine are getting slightly different orientations depending on where you are at any given moment. Next exhale, pause and change direction, circling the other way. Feel into the side body as you circle. You might start with slightly larger circles because your body's already accustomed to moving. And you can return to those little circles first and build up to a larger circle. Feel the abdominal space being moved, the orientation of those soft organs being changed as you circle around. And slowly let the circles get smaller and smaller until you're stationary again, still resting on the earth. Bring your hands down beside the body. And as you inhale, raise the arms up. And as you exhale, let the hands come together in prayer and descend down the center line of your body. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, lower the hands down. Let the belly be soft, the spine long. Slowly move and breathe. Keeping the eyes closed to turn inward, or opening them. If you'd like to have a soft gaze in front of the body. Taking 2 more circles. And then bringing the hands down beside you, we're going to side bend on an exhalation. And inhale, bring yourself back up to center. Exhale to the other side. And inhale back up. Continue to transition between sides. Finishing off the second side. Coming back upright. We're going to begin to twist dynamically. Exhale to twist to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale to twist to the left. Starting to further wake up the spine. We're not staying in any of these poses. It's more moving energetically, the breath and the body. Noticing how the body lets you go a little more deeply in time. When you finish the second side, bringing yourself back to center and pausing for a moment, letting the hands rest, eyes closed. Notice how you're feeling, what's going on in your body. Can you still feel the echo of the poses we were just doing? Perhaps that feeling of the spine changing its orientation on the vertebrae, along the vertebrae. Take 2 deep, slow breaths. Feeling the whole of the lungs opening and expanding on the inhale and releasing on the exhale. And then uncrossing your legs, stretch your legs out in front of you. Take the legs a little bit apart and circle the ankles, getting into our ankle joints and also encouraging the soleus to contract and release. Soleus is the muscle behind gastroc, which is considered by some to be the second heart. It helps to pump the blood back to the heart, venous return, and also helps to circulate our lymph. So it's an important muscle to access. Circle the other way. Maybe you'd like to change it up a bit and paddle the feet out. Or roll them in and roll them out. Let's find some different orientations. And then coming to stillness. Settle yourself firmly on your sit spines, and you might find that placing a blanket under your seat can be of benefit. You want the blanket to be just under the sitting bones, not under the thighs. As you exhale, bring the right knee in towards your chest and open that knee out to the side. Readjust your seat, moving the flesh out of the way if you need to. The straight leg is roughly in front of us, or maybe it might be a little bit out to the side. You find the orientation that works for you. Inhale, raise the arms up. As you exhale, fold forward and circle the arms around. And then inhale, lift again and come back into that circling action. This Qigong style exercise is wonderful before we drop into the stillness of the yin. It lets your body know what is to come and prepares that leg, particularly the hamstring, for your forward fold. And if you have tight hamstrings, you can always put a bend in that straight leg, placing something underneath the knee to support it. One more breath in. Exhale, circling. And then when you're ready to, start to sink towards that leg, relaxing the hips, relaxing the belly, allowing the whole body to release forward over that leg. Soft shoulders, heavy arms, with your toes a wriggle, and relax the foot, releasing through the entire length of your left leg. Now's a good time to check in. Is it too strong in your hamstring? Would you be better off placing a blanket or a cushion under that left leg? Do you need some more height under your seat? Would having a bolster or a prop along the left leg help support you? Once you've done all the wriggling and jiggling you need to get comfortable, allow yourself to settle in. Perhaps closing the eyes, focusing on the breath. Scan through your body as you rest in this pose. And notice if there's any spaces, perhaps your index finger in your right hand, that feels like it's holding tension that it doesn't need to. It could be a thought in your mind, something that's been circling the head for a number of days. See what you're able to let go of. And as you next inhale, begin to prepare your body for movement. On the exhalation, walking the hands back in towards your chest, lifting the torso upright. Taking a breath here and broadening across your collarbones. And then as you exhale, we're going to be twisting to the right, taking the left hand outside the right knee, right arm behind you. If you're up on height on a blanket, you might need another blanket behind the hand, under the hand that's behind you. You can turn your head to look over your right shoulder. Or you can keep your face in line with your chest. Let your belly relax, soften around the glutes and the hips. We're not trying to go into our deepest possible twist, but find that place where we're somewhat wringing out the organs, those soft organs in our belly, and then let the breath do all the work for us. As you next inhale, gently bring yourself back to the front, lifting up that right knee. Come to rest on the back of your buttocks with your hands supporting behind you. Take your feet apart, about hip width apart, and begin to rotate the knees from one side to the other. Coming into windshield wipers, rolling across the buttocks, massaging out as you roll. Giving some inward rotation to that right hip. A couple more times to each side. And then bringing yourself back upright. Stretch the legs back out in front of you. Readjust whatever you need to. Making sure that you are supported and that the pelvic bone is either neutral or in a forward tilt. And then bend the left knee in towards your chest. Open that knee out to the side. Readjust, get comfortable on your seat. Inhale, raise the arms up. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward and circle the arms back towards the body. Folding on an exhalation, lifting the arms on an inhalation. Notice if the right leg feels any different to the left. Last full circle here. And then begin to let yourself sink over your right leg. Finding a comfortable place for the arms to rest. Maybe you are higher up with the weight on the hands, supporting the torso. If the hamstring is really tight, you might like to bend the knee up and place a rolled blanket underneath it so you've got support at the back of the knee. And so the pose isn't quite so strong. It's yin, it's gentle, it's soft. Find that place where the body can be in softness. Relax the belly and the shoulders, the arms, the legs, the hips, the whole length of the spine. Find a neutral place for your head to rest and sink into the stillness. Check in with if you've lost your focus on your breathing. Where may your mind have started wandering to? Each time you notice yourself heading off to follow your thoughts, bring your attention back to the present moment, back to the breath, back to the body. And as you next inhale, begin to prepare your body for movement. And on the exhalation, walking the hands in, carefully lifting back upright. Take a big inhalation, broaden across your collarbones. And as you exhale, begin to twist to the left, right hand coming outside the bent left knee. Left hand behind you, supported on some height if that's of benefit. Relax the belly. Turn your head over the left shoulder if that's comfortable. Or keep the face in line with your chest. If tension has crept into your pose, see if you can let go. Maybe wriggling the toes of the right foot. Letting both legs relax against the floor. And as you next inhale, begin to bring yourself back to the front, lifting up your left leg, bending in your right, and moving your legs out of the way to take them behind you to come down to lie on your belly, supporting your head on your stacked hands or resting your arms down beside the body. Allow yourself to sink into the rebound, relaxing against the floor. As you next exhale, take the hands to either side of your chest. Push into your hands to lift yourself up to tabletop, bringing the knees a comfortable distance apart, the wrists under the shoulders. I'm going to take a couple of rounds of cat and cow. On an inhalation, let the belly drop, the head lift. On an exhalation, pull the belly up, let the head and tail drop. Moving between these two poses, or if you'd like to, bring some side body action in, so that as you come into cow pose, then move the rib cage to one side, round into cat pose, rib cage to the other side and back into cow. Take 2 or 3 circles one direction, and then change and circle the other way. See if you can feel into the shoulder joints, the elbow joints, the wrists, as well as the coxal joint, the hip joint, and all the vertebrae of the spine, waking everything up. And then coming to stillness, tuck your toes under. So see if you can get all 10 of your toes tucked under, and then sink back with the buttocks onto the heels and stretch the arms out in front of you. So the weight shouldn't be too intense on the toes at this point. This is a gentle version of toe squat. The weight just simply resting onto the fronts of the thighs. So the toes aren't getting too much stimulation, starting to ease our way into toe squat. And you might find you want to stay here. That's enough for you. You've got enough going on in the arches of the feet and the toes of the feet. If you want to come into full toe squat, lift yourself back upright and sink the weight of the buttocks down onto the heels so that you've got much more stimulation in the toes. And if you've come upright, we're going to do some shoulder work as well, bringing the arms into cactus and then crossing the left upper arm on top of the right, twining the forearms, lifting the elbows away from the chest, opening across the upper back, belly soft with the rib cage still tucked in, lifting the elbows up, and then tilt the forearms to the left and tilt the head to the right. So the right ear comes towards the right shoulder. The forearms are both tilting to the left. As you next inhale, bring the head and the arms back upright. Release the arms, roll the shoulders. Let's have a wee break from the toes. Come forward and tap the top of the feet out on the floor. We're going to come back into toe squat for the other side of the arms. But if it's just too intense, if your toes have had enough, simply come back onto the heels with the tops of the feet on the earth. But if you're happy to come back into toe squat, tuck the toes under, open your arms back into cactus arms. This time the right upper arm is on top of the left, twining the forearms, palms towards one another. Belly soft, ribcage softly tucked in, and then tilt your forearms to the right and tilt your head to the left. Left ear to left shoulder. Remind yourself to breathe. Keeping a lift in the elbows. As you next inhale, lift the head, return the forearms up and then unwind the arms. Come forward onto your hands and tap out the tops of your feet again. And then from here, we're going to stretch one leg back, taking the heel away from us, ball of the foot into the floor, just stretching out the back of the leg, giving those toes a little bit of a break, no weight on them, and then change sides, stretching out the other side. Bring that knee back to meet the opposite leg. We're going to step our right foot forward between our hands. Tuck the toes under of that back foot and lift the knee and shimmy that foot away from you, and then release the knee back to the floor. And the hands supporting us on either side of the front leg, and take padding, a blanket under that back knee if you need it, if it's not comfortable. Let your chest rest down onto the front of your thigh. The more weight you put on that front leg, the more intensity will come into the pose. So if you want to reduce the intensity, lift up more onto the hands, or take blocks or books under your hands or blankets to give yourself more height. So you're raising the level of the floor so that the body weight isn't such a major factor. You want to have your ankle bone and your knee stacked in line with each other. When you stack the joints in this way, it means that the bones of the leg are doing a lot of the holding and our muscles can let go a little more easily. Relax the belly, soften the shoulders, and take some slow, steady breaths here in our baby dragon pose. This next sequence we're going to go through is 3 poses in a row. Baby dragon to winged dragon, then to sleeping swan. So if at any stage you want to go straight to sleeping swan, if the dragons are getting too strong, by all means sink into sleeping swan instead. If even that feels too intense for your hip spaces, then come to lie on your belly and take a longer rebound. Remember that we're treating our bodies with love and kindness. So if you quite like baby dragon, if you've got some good sensations in your hips and the hip flexor of your back leg, you might want to stay here. But if you want to come into winged dragon, bring your right arm inside the knee and then heel toe your foot out a little bit, maybe even turning the toes out slightly. And then begin to open the right knee. I quite like to bring my hand up and rest it on the leg, but it's absolutely up to you. If you've got lots of space, you may find that you can come down onto your elbows. So that's a really nice way of supporting the body, particularly if you've got some height under the elbows, a bolster, pillows, cushions, blankets, whatever you have at home. So find which option is best for you. Hopefully there is one. And simply breathe. Feel what's going on through the hip space. Notice how your body is feeling. As you next inhale, you're down and your elbows start to lift yourself back up onto your hands. And from here, we're going to slide into swan pose. Pull back with your hips and slide your right foot across to the other side of your mat. And then sink the back leg away from you so that the hips descend. You might like to lift into upright swan for a moment to get comfortable. You can put some height, some padding underneath that right buttock if that helps. Make sure that the joints are feeling okay here, particularly your front knee. And if it's not, you can come around onto your back and come into the eye of the needle instead. Walk your hands forward here, resting on your elbows to begin with. And then as you feel that the body is accepting this place where you are supporting yourself, you might like to sink the head down and rest more fully over that front leg. As you next exhale, begin to prepare yourself to move. Inhale to lift the head and the chest, coming back up onto your hands. I'll give you a couple of options for your rebound. You might like to come to lie on your belly and be still for your rebound. Or if you'd like a slightly more active one, bring your hips forward a little bit so that you can tuck the toes under of your left leg. And then stretch your right leg up into three-legged down dog. Maybe bending the top knee and stacking the hips. Circling the ankle. It's a lovely release after being in sleeping swan. And then re-straighten that leg, bring it back to meet the other. Maybe you stay in down dog, or maybe you come down onto the knees and then your belly for a wee break, a wee rebound to let our tissues recoil. And then, oh joy, we get to do it all on the other side. Bring your hands beside your chest, push into your hands to bring yourself up to kneeling. From here, step the left foot forward between your hands. Tuck the toes of the back foot under. Lift the knee and shimmy that foot away from you. So that you've got a lovely bit of stretch along the hip flexor of the back thigh. Use props if you need to under your hands to take some of the weight of the torso. If you don't want to rest, if you can't get the hands comfortably to the floor to take the weight of the torso, and you don't want to rest it all on the thigh, then use some height, some props. And you feel that you've got the right shape. Let yourself begin to sink in, relaxing through the shoulder blades and the shoulders, the whole of the length of the spine releasing. Letting yourself sink and settle into the hip spaces and the hip flexor of that back leg. Slow, deep breaths. If you've got enough going on for you in Baby Dragon, you can stay where you are. If you'd like to come into Winged Dragon, move your left arm inside the left leg, heel toe that foot out towards the outside edge of your mat, maybe having the toes on a slight angle so they stay in line with the knee. And then let yourself roll to that outer edge of the foot. You can come up with the hand on the thigh. It's a little bit more energetic. Or you can keep both hands on the floor. Or if you have the space to, the availability in your body, you can come down to rest on your elbows, whether that's to the floor or on some height. It will depend on your body and what props you have available. From Winged Dragon, we're going to transition into Swan Pose. You're down and your elbows come up onto your hands. Pull your hips back enough that you can slide that left foot towards the right side of your mat. So the left leg is bent in front of you. The right leg extends back behind you. Let the hips settle downward. Use height under this left buttock. If it's up off the floor, give yourself some support. So there's something to lean against. Take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, walk the hands forward, coming onto the elbows to begin with, and checking in. What do you need to do to make this pose more comfortable? If you have pain in your front knee, this is not the right pose for you. Instead, come onto your back, cross the left ankle over the right knee, and be in eye of the needle. So it's a really viable option. Or, if you feel like it, straighten the legs, come fully onto your belly, and have a nice long rebound. If your body is feeling that it can sink in a little deeper, let your elbows stretch out to either side. Maybe bring your forehead down to rest on the hands. Relax the shoulders. Release the arms and the chest. And as you next inhale, begin to lift the head and the chest if you're in Sleeping Swan. Bringing your hands to the earth. Sliding your hips forward a little bit so that you've got the space to tuck the toes under. You can always come straight to your belly, or if you want to come into that three-legged down dog position and then dog peeing on a hydrant position with the bent top leg. It's a nice release for the hips. And straightening the leg, returning the foot to the floor, coming down onto your knees and then onto your belly. Rest the arms, turn the head to one side, and take a few slow, deep breaths in the still rebound. As you next inhale, bring the hands to either side of the chest, the forehead to the floor, and as you inhale, lift into a little baby cobra. And as you exhale, float the forehead back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, float. There's not much weight on the hands. We're trying to get the muscles around the lower back to switch on. When these muscles are strong, it helps to support the whole of the core. A couple more times, seeing if you can lift a little further. Again, predominantly using the muscles in the lower back. We're just waking up this region before we come into the stillness to connect to the fascia. Once more, when you lift up, pause in that upright position and turn the head to look down towards the right foot. And then inhale back to center and exhale, turn the head to look down the left foot. And inhale back to center. And then slowly descend the belly down, bringing the elbows to the floor, so that your elbows are just a little bit in front of the shoulders. Forearms resting on the earth. I like to have my hands in prayer position, but you may prefer to have the palms of the hands resting on the earth. You want to choose the option that lets you relax the most across the shoulder girdle, so across the top of the back on both sides. With the elbows a little bit in front of the shoulders, it means that the upper arm bones are going to be holding you up more than the muscles. Let your head be in a neutral position. And find your drishti, your gaze point. This could be a soft gaze towards the hands or the floor, or you could let your eyelids gently close. Soften the belly. Let yourself float on the river of the breath. On the next exhalation, the elbows slide out to either side, crossing one palm in front of the other and resting the forehead down. Take some breaths into the lower back. Notice what's going on in this region. We first engaged the muscles, got those muscles around the spinal column in the lower back to switch on. And then we sunk into the stillness, letting the fascial sacs around those muscles, around the bones, around the whole of the back body to be accessed. As you next exhale, bring the hands to either side of your chest. Push into your hands to lift yourself up to tabletop. And walk the knees apart here, either bringing the big toes together to touch or taking the feet out in line with the knees. I'm going to go for a more like a wide-legged child's pose, but with my butt in the air. And then come down onto your elbows. Pick up the right hand, take the back of the hand to the floor and stretch it out underneath you, resting down onto the side of that shoulder and resting the head on the floor or onto a blanket. So the palm is facing up and we're on the outside of the bottom shoulder, which is the right shoulder. You might like to stretch your left arm forward along the floor. You might want to keep the hand in line with the face, or maybe bring the hand up and let the weight of the arm rest down on your back. Choose the position that's appropriate for you, and then sink into it. We're stimulating the kidney, the liver, and the spleen channels that run along the inner thigh here. We're decompressing through our lumbar spine, so we're getting this area to relax, length in the spinal column. The belly's soft, lots of room for the breath. And we're stimulating the outer compartment of our bottom arm. There's lots going on in this pose. You might like to move your mind through the different spaces and enjoy the different sensations. Or bring the mind to rest on the breath. Slow, steady breathing in and out. Life-giving inhale, toxin-releasing exhale. On your next inhalation, take the left hand beside the face, push into that hand to unwind your right arm. And then we're going to move into the other side. Left arm coming underneath us, resting down onto the outside of the shoulder, the outside of the head, finding an appropriate place for the right arm, and sinking in. Bringing the right hand back beside your face, push into that hand to unwind yourself. And carefully begin to walk the knees back in toward each other. From here, make your way over to lying on your back. Stretch the legs and the arms out for a moment. Let the knees have some relief. Relax the shoulders, soften the belly. As you next exhale, bend the knees. Place the soles of the feet on the floor. Pick up the hips and move them a little bit to the right-hand side of your mat. And then cross the right leg over the left, crossing it fully so the knees are touched toward one another. Bring the knees in towards the chest and exhale, take them down to the left-hand side. Open your arms out to each side and check in here. How does this feel for you? If the right shoulder is too far away from the floor, you might want to put some support under the legs to lift that side of the body up so the shoulder comes down, or curl the arm around your head or rest the arm at your waist so that the weight of the arm isn't putting too much pressure on the front of the shoulder, but that you're still able to open that shoulder towards the ceiling. Once you've found your shape, let yourself settle in. There's no need to try to go any deeper. Simply release against the earth. To come out of the pose, uncross your legs first so you're not straining the lower back, and then roll onto your back. Readjust yourself on your mat to be balanced, and then push into your feet to move your hips a little to the left this time. Cross the left leg over the right, completely crossing it. Bring your knees into your chest, and then exhale, descend the legs down to the right-hand side. Arms open to either side, head in a neutral position. If the left shoulder's too far off the floor, you can put height under those legs. It'll help reduce the twist in your back so that the left shoulder can drop. Or find a different place for the arm. Curl it around your head or bring the hand to rest at the waist. Settle in here. Let the belly be soft, let the breath flow. As you next exhale, unwind your legs and carefully bring yourself back to center. Maybe hug the knees in towards your chest and rock from side to side. Circle the knees, massaging the spine. Rolling out the kidneys. And then when you're ready to, start to extend your arms and legs along the floor. Use a blanket over your body, under your head, under your knees. Make sure that you're warm enough and comfortable enough for your Shavasana, the final pose of most yoga classes. Let the body completely relax against the earth. Toes, ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, wrists, the neck, the throat, the head, the spine, the legs, the arms. Everything sinking down, sinking in. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just breathe. Releasing your focus on your breathing. Begin to prepare your body for movement. Starting small, wriggling fingers and toes, building up to stretching out the whole body. When you feel ready to, bending your knees and either hugging them into your chest, or if you'd like to, maybe rocking from side to side and rolling to your side, or making your way directly up to sitting. Bringing the hands together in prayer position in front of the heart space. In honour of your practice. Namaste.